I think as a parent, all I can say is we could never take anything for granted. Things like, park time or, just being outdoors with our children or just being around more children. I just feel like Angad and me always wanted to have two children. I was the first one to actually get fever, and then, we were testing and constantly testing, and suddenly, like overnight, we were like, let's just get the entire house tested, and 9 people at home, including like my in-laws and staff, and everyone tested positive. I remember after starting Freedom to Feed, I reached out to a really large mall in Mumbai, and I was just like, hey, would you like to associate with us and give women a little bit of space, because at one time in a mall, I don't think there'd be more than 2 or 3 women breastfeeding at the same time. So you don't really need that much real estate to make it comfortable for them. And then they were like, no, we have this. And I was just like, that's great, that you have a breastfeeding spot in the mall. And that's when they said, I was just like, where is it? Because I'd love to use it. And they were like, yeah, that sofa in the toilet. I was aghast.
Hi Neha, welcome to Pinkville.
Hi, thank you very much.
You'll be embracing motherhood for the second time, and I believe personally that being a mother is probably one of the most toughest jobs in the world, and you will be accepting it and embracing it for the second time. How does it feel?
I feel it's fantastic, and it's only because of Meher and because I've experienced motherhood that I know how amazing it is, that I want to do it all over again. Not to say that anything is going to change because of the way I feel for Meher. She's always going to be my baby girl, but I just feel like Angad and me always wanted to have 2 children, and we're on our way. And it's like I always say that children are a blessing, and I'm very excited. Like, I'm in my head. Both he and I are not people who make a big deal about things. I mean, as long as everyone's healthy, everyone's happy, everything else figures itself out, I feel.
According to you, Neha, what are the challenges of being a mother? It's a very tough task.
I mean, I don't know if the challenge is such, but it's like every mother right now is going through that, or every parent, I would say, is going through that, is living with children who are getting used to life and a pandemic around them, which has just been so hard, because she gets it now. She's a little over 2.5, and she knows that, like she has to wear her socks and shoes, and like she has to wear her little hairband before going out. She wears her mask as well. It's not like, she comes next to the door and she's just like, oh, where's my mask? Because she keeps seeing us do the same thing. Wow. And it's tough, things that we took for granted. And my only thing is that when she was born, it was 2018, and the first wave struck us, and lockdown happened around end of March 2020, if I'm not wrong. I don't have the exact date. And I think as a parent, all I can say is we could never take anything for granted. Things like, park time or, just being outdoors with our children or just being around more children. Like after a point, it got frustrating for us as well. I can't even imagine how hard it must have been for her, because she went through this phase, and she went into her first lockdown when she was all of 14 months old. Literally the day she started walking, the next day, I was at a shoot, I still remember, and the next day it was like, we all have to pack our bags and leave. So she walked for 3 days in the outdoors, and then she learned everything on the indoors. But like they say, they have so much resilience, and they're so tough, and they figure it out. But I don't think it's fair on anyone. But the fact is that in the midst of all that, focus on just as parents, focus on being positive, focus on the fact that you have so much time with your children, that you're seeing them grow. These are things that we would have probably not experienced if it wasn't for the amount of time we've spent at home.
Sure. But like you rightly said, the challenge for parents have become so much in the last year and a half, because earlier, when children used to go to school, they used to imbibe certain disciplines, certain mannerisms from school. So there used to be a co-parenting between parents and school. But now it has become like a responsibility of completely for parents right now, because they are constantly grooming the kids while they are at home. Meher started her preschool, or is she going to start? And how
Yes, she goes to
this
this lovely school called Toddler's Den. She does virtual school. Today was actually her first day in her new class, and she's very with it, and she's telling her teachers, and I think they did a small get to know each other kind of game, and she was just like, I spy with my little eye, and she kept playing that, and something with yellow, and she's looking at Zoom, and she knows how to work technology. I mean, they're so young, and I was just like, okay, Meher, say bye. And then she looked at me and she's like, should I leave the Zoom link? She says stuff like that, and it's amazing how kids are just they're conditioned to learn under any circumstances. So she figures it out, and a lot of the learning comes from me, because I actually, the only time I read is before going to bed. So I'm the kind of person who consumes news at night. And that's a really old habit I have of mine. It's like in the morning, I'm just like, I need to sleep. And then whatever's happened in the day, I like to, read it and then maybe read a little more. But usually it's bedtime reading, which I've had a habit since I was a little kid. So she gets that from me, but hers is more, educational and a combination of storytelling. Yeah. So now she's gone into a phase where she tells us what it is. And I'm just like, okay. And then she'll be like, chocolate was first found in Brazil, but the thing is that now we have to figure out where Brazil is on the map for her, so, things like that. But she's a quick learner. The outdoors stuff now, because things have opened up a little bit. I can't run behind her, so her dad's taken over her football class. So she's partly athletic and partly academic, and she's still finding out. We're also still finding out as to where her real interests lie. So we're letting her grow. That's the most important thing.
Sure, but is it a challenge? And as a parent, does it worry you at that point in time that you're not letting them go out, you're not letting them be in community, you're not letting them, because we have all done that, and we know the importance
of course. Man is a social animal, and if you take out the social part, you're left with nothing. But of course it worries me, and but at the same time we try and do as much as we can to keep things a little social, whether it's in a small little bio bubble or something. But like they say, there's no such thing as a bio bubble, because whoever's a part of your bio bubble is stepping out somewhere else to meet someone else. That's also extremely worrying. There was one little news flash about a vaccine coming in for kids between 3 and 12. So one keeps reading up about different things, but it's just that we've got to just survive. We'd all had COVID when we were in Delhi just now. So even I had mild COVID in the midst of my pregnancy. So things have been not so great, but because you've come out healthy of it, you feel like it's been okay.
Sure. I recently read an interview where you said that I was pregnant when Angad got COVID. This is a very difficult time.
It was, it really was, because I was the first one to actually get fever, and then we were testing and constantly testing, and suddenly overnight we were like, let's just get the entire house tested, and 9 people at home, including my in-laws and staff, and everyone tested positive. And I isolated with Meher, because the only person who can be there with her was me, because at that point mine was just showing up as fever again. But you always have that fear, and it was very hard. She couldn't understand from in any case, you're living in these tiny apartments, and then it gets even tinier because you're in a room, you can't, it's like concentration camp for them.
True.
Plus I was pregnant, so it was just so hard for me to keep everything under check, and the worry of being so far away from the ones you love, and all of them have COVID, and nights seemed so long, I can't tell you. I just felt like one more night, and then counting days, and then living through the nights, and just because everybody turns their phones off and they're all asleep. They're probably okay, but because they're so far, you worry so much for them. And just with children, sometimes you have to relieve yourself of the duty to then come back to them. So there was nobody else, her primary caretakers and Angad, of course, and she would always say, where's Papa? So it was hard, but I think it's past me, And I feel like that's really going to be a strong memory of our second pregnancy, at least for me.
Sure, but like you said, it must be a very difficult time. What suggestions would you like to give to pregnant women who are also, conceiving during the COVID times, and what should they do to make sure that they keep them safe?
No, so there are a couple of things. As a community, we have Freedom to Feed, which is a parenting community that I run, and it started off as a breastfeeding community, but now, of course, it's a parenting community. The one thing that we did do was support this petition that was being signed by Priyali Sur at the time when she was pregnant, for women, whether taking the vaccine is their choice or not. And then initially they said that pregnant women shouldn't take the vaccine, and then later on the petition got cleared and it became a matter of choice. So my point is that under your gynecologist's advice, if you think that it's the right thing to do, please take the vaccine. If you think that you want to refrain from taking the vaccine, then please live your life with utmost caution, because it's not like because you stepped out, therefore you will get COVID, or because you've been at home, so it's a guarantee you won't get COVID. So, we've heard of enough and more cases where people haven't even stepped out and they're like, ye to kahin bahar jata hi nahi, to isko kaise ho gaya? So, there's no set formula as to who is going to get to and who is not going to get to. So just be extremely careful. If you have children at home and you're pregnant, like in our case, be even more careful. We were very cautious. Like, we were fully isolated, and then we got struck by it. So, and then when it happens, and if it happens, there's very little medication that you can take under the given circumstances. So most important thing, work on positivity, because in your head, if you stay positive, everything, like, I feel like half the battle is won.
I agree with you. Did you opt for vaccination?
No, I am not vaccinated right now, and I decided not to, and I will be taking the vaccine after, depending on how long I'm going to be breastfeeding for, and what the format is, and what amount of break you need to take, and then those decisions will be taken once I'm ready for it. But I'm not vaccinated yet, but I do have. We did an antibody test, so I do have antibodies, which is a blessing in disguise. Yeah, because I did get a mild version of COVID.
Sure. We've also spoken a lot about normalizing breastfeeding in public, which is a very, very important topic to talk about. And I also saw that there was some social media backlash also you got about this when you spoke about this. But how do you react to it now? And do you think more and more people are understanding the importance of it?
I don't know about the social media backlash, but I know that there's been a lot of support as well, and that's what I want to focus on as far as normalizing breastfeeding is concerned. I'll give you a small example. Like, when we started Freedom to Feed, and why we started it was because I felt the amount of discomfort going out and feeding my daughter when I was out publicly. And then you don't understand that a woman goes through lots of things, and one of the main things is postpartum. You don't want to be left alone. Sometimes you just want to take a walk in a mall. I remember after starting Freedom to Feed, I reached out to a really large mall in Mumbai, and I was just like, hey, would you like to associate with us and give women a little bit of space, because at one time in a mall, I don't think there'd be more than 2 or 3 women breastfeeding at the same time. So you don't really need that much real estate to make it comfortable for them. And then they were like, no, we have this. And I was just like, that's great, that you have a breastfeeding spot in the mall. And that's when they said, I was just like, where is it? Because I'd love to use it. And they were like, yeah, that sofa in the toilet. I was aghast that, people still treat it like that. The point is that if it's mealtime, you can give that sofa in the toilet to the restaurant owner, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So why would you do this to new moms and their kids? You need to normalize it by giving women spaces, physically and mentally. Like, even mentally, give them the space. So if they're, sitting somewhere and feeding their child, because we're going to do it in any case. If our child is crying, I'm not going to worry about you looking at me, or someone else looking at me, or waiting ki oh chadar ki tarah or kapda ki tarah. I'm going to go for it, because for me there's nothing else here. There's a being that comes out of me, and the next second you don't know where this love comes from, that you're ready to take a bullet for this person. But this is something that moms are going to do. So why would you not give them the space? So why would you not normalize it, or why would you sexualize it? I mean, you know, why is there such a large association? The minute you say breast, it's like, oh, let's just talk about like sexualizing it. No, you have to understand that this is breastfeeding. It's the most natural thing. We've all gone through it. And, you know, we've heard of mothers who write to us who've said that they're sitting in their own balconies, you know, and I get it. Like, some of us want to do it in private. Like, you know, if I'm at home, I don't want to do it in my living room. I want to do it in the comfort of my bedroom, and I want my backrest, and I want my familiar surroundings, and I want all that. So that's also fine. I want to be in isolation. It's my, you know, prerogative.
Sure.
But at the same time, it doesn't mean that if there's a mom, I'm going to go back to the mother who wrote to us. She's sitting in her own balcony, and if I want to get some fresh air and do it, it doesn't mean that just because you can look into my balcony, you've got to look at me every 3 hours that I take my baby out to feed my child. Not okay. It's not cool. So,
Horrible.
I mean, I really think that, you know, talking about it, or vocalizing, or starting communities, or starting a chatter around it is very important.
How is Meher preparing for the little baby?
Oh, it's very exciting. You know, we're trying to like now renovate the room a bit, and they're going to be sharing a room, because I just feel like, you know, siblings need to be put together, and, you know, they learn so much. And she's going to be a great big sister. And, you know, sometimes she gets some, like the other day, she got 2 boxes of finger paints, like someone sent her. I said, you'd like to use one? Usually when she was her usual self, she would like open, and then she would rip another one apart, and she'd be like, no, let's save this for the baby. And then she's got a name for the baby. And then, yeah. And then, you know, she's got this book where she's learning what a baby kangaroo is called, or a baby giraffe, and a baby, you know, lion and stuff like that. And then she's like, you know, where's my baby? What are we going to call him? We haven't decided names yet, but I just feel like we need to do that sooner.
You're doing a Thursday from work perspective. How excited are you for that film? And, you know, what's up in the pipeline besides that film?
I finished a film called Sanak with Vidyut. And Vipul Shah was producing it, so it should be out soonish. I'm not sure when. I think they have a song or 2 left. Okay. And I do have Thursday as well on the cards, and it's very exciting. It's lovely to be working with, you know, I mean, the cast is really cool, and I mean, as is the cast even in Sanak, but this is, you know, there's Dimple Kabadia, and then there's Yami, and there's you know, a whole bunch of, like, you know, it's a great crowd to be in, so I'm excited about that. There's Atul Kulkarni, who I'm working with for the first time, so it's nice to you know, be around people, and it's a tough part.
Yeah.
So
you play a cop, I'm told.
Yes. And a tough one. So it's nice.
Wow, I can't wait to see that, and I can't wait to congratulate you once the baby is here. Thank you so much, Neha. This is a lovely conversation.
Thank you very much, and thank you for talking to me. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.